Hello. Are we on the air? Hi guys, and welcome to another Ask T live Q&A. It is, let me see if I can get the date right today, Thursday, the 26th of June, 2025. Woo! Clap for me. I got it right. I think so anyway. All right, let's see if anyone's going to join me live today. So I'm going to be answering your sprinting questions. Please share this link. Let me see if I can share it real quick. Okay, I don't know if this restarted. I really hope that, oh yeah, okay, so I'm still live. Okay guys, so I'm going to jump into the questions. Happy Thursday. I hope you're having a great week so far. I had a really great setup down at the bottom. Please let me know if you can hear me. I had a great setup at the bottom on the track as I like to have it, but then all the grey clouds were making it look like it was going to rain, and now it looks better again. But we're up the top today, so we're just going to go with it. We're going to roll with it. So let me see. There's a little bit of mix up with the time. So I know some people wanted to join live, but hopefully, even if you don't join us live, you can join on the replay. Loud and clear. Lovely, lovely, jubbly. Okay, cool. I'm going to get into the first question. We're going to start off with a light-hearted question today. Question is from Emmanuel D, and he asks me, how come you look the same from when you was about 6 or 7? He actually asked this in the last live, but I saw it after the fact, so I didn't get a chance to answer it. So how come I still look the same since I was 6 or 7? What's the secret? You look so silly. Thank you, first of all. I have to admit at this point in my life I have a baby face, because then once I still get asked for ID in like shops, in the supermarket, if I'm just buying like ibuprofen. So these days I have to know it. I just give all praise and glory to God. Thank you, Lord, for giving me a baby face. Thank you for giving me youth. But I would just say, apart from Jesus and prayer and obviously exercise and, eating well, I would just say staying at peace. I'm well, thank you. How are you? Yeah, staying at peace, casting all my cares and burdens onto the Lord, not letting things stress me, and just lifestyle, One thing I struggle with is sleep, but I hope to do that better. But thank you very much for that. All right. Tola A asks, how can I get fit for the warm weather training between now and January without a track near me? Really good question. So for those of you who don't know what she's talking about, I hope you guys can still hear me, because someone's cutting the grass over there. Is it loud, or can you still hear me? Are we good? Are we good? Yeah, so for those of you who don't know what she's talking about, so we have our annual Pura Track Speed Camp coming up in January. And I say coming up, guys, because we're now in June, which means there's only 6 months left until January. It's really loud for me. Is it loud for you? Okay, cool. All right, cool. Yeah, so our next speed camp is going to be the 3rd full week in January 2026. People are signing up already, looking forward to it already. The early bird price is still early bird price right now, and it's early bird price until the end of August. So I really encourage you guys to get the early bird price. The price will go up from the 1st of September. But if you are interested in coming, make sure you book it before that. And then I would encourage you also to start looking at flights, start looking at hotels, because it gets booked up. Flights not so much, but hotels definitely. Tenerife gets very busy. We're going to Tenerife in January, so this is what Tola A is talking about. So how can she get fit for that camp if you don't have a track near you? So obviously the Pure Track Speed Camp, we're going to be focusing predominantly on track work, right? However, we're going to do gym work too, but the focus will be track work, going away somewhere warmer in January so that we can actually enjoy running in the warmth during the winter, especially for those of us who live in a cold country where it's cold in January, right? Now, if you don't have a track near you, number one, obviously you can utilize your gym. So in the gym, you want to maintain your strength work. So getting stronger, especially during the winter, getting stronger. getting powerful. So that's going to be including plyometric work as well. So if you can utilize box jumps, if you have some gyms, a lot of gyms nowadays, they've got like space where you can do use the prowler where you're pushing it, or you can use a pulley in that space. If you have that in the gym, utilizing that, focusing on your technique. So drills, if you have that space, like I said, you can focus on drills there as well. But you can also utilize a park. So trying to find a flat surface area near you, maybe a football pitch near you, because AstroTurf is really great as well, where you can do drills, where you can do plyometric. So that's going to be skips, that can be jumps, utilizing stairs, running up the stairs, switching up the stairs. What's it called? Utilizing stairs for bounding, right? If you've got access to the park where it has hills, you can do hill sprints. You can work on hills. So there's lots of things you can do. Another thing you can do is in the gym, which I didn't mention before, is actually utilize the bike. The bike can be very, very useful as well. So if you can't run, you can't do like sprints, which you could do, like I said, at the park or on the Astro, you can still do sprints there. You can still do drills and running there. However, you can also utilize the bike for like bike sprints and also speed endurance, so longer bike sprints on the bike. So those are lots of ways that you can actually get fit for the Pure Track Speed Camp if you don't have access to a track. Obviously a track is beneficial, but if your first time going on the track is, say, let's say the camp, that's still going to be okay as long as you've done all the other work that I've said. Then you'll have some form of fitness, because any training camp where you're away for a whole week training, you're going to need some type of fitness, right? Let me see what let me see this. I am very curious about spinal engine theory in sprinting. Can you explain it for me? How is it helpful or not? How to train, oh, why does it keep disappearing? How to train it and many other details, please. I don't know what spinal engine theory is. I'm really sorry. Maybe I know it as something else. Maybe I don't know the theory in name. If you give me like a little summary of what it might be about, then maybe I can think. I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with spinal engine theory. I'm really sorry. Maybe after this I can have a look and it's something I can talk about maybe on another video. Okay, Arthur P asks this. He says, so when I'm at the top speed phase, when sprinting, instead of pushing directly down, should I push down and back? How can I do that naturally without wasting time? So Arthur, let me just put this down for a second. So Arthur, I believe he commented on one of my videos about like the hill recovery. So when you're at the top speed phase, personally, I wouldn't necessarily think about pushing back per se. So I would focus on definitely the horizontal. I'm in a really awkward space now. Let me see if I can go like here. Right, so you can still see me, right? If you focus on down, obviously that's that motion. We get our leg up so that we have a nice lever to produce power. If you focus on the back, I feel like what it will do is encourage you to push too long on the ground like that. So what I would say to focus on instead is actually focus on the recovery of the leg. So getting your heel underneath your bum, foot down, and getting your knee back in front of you. So more like the switching action of your leg. So rather than focusing necessarily on pushing back, which encourages too long a heel recovery, especially in the max velocity phase, which is what he said to me. He asked about in max V, yeah, he did, in the top speed phase. When you're at top speed, you're focusing on upright running and being a bit more vertical with your force. You need to focus more on the front side mechanics. So if you're focusing on pushing backwards, it's going to encourage too much heel recovery at the back. So I would say focus more on getting that heel underneath you and getting the knee right back in front so you can produce power in the vertical direction once again. So focusing on the heel recovery in terms of getting the knee back in front so that you have time. The knee back in front just gives you that time to produce a lot of power in the downward motion. The lower your knee is, the less force you can produce. The higher your knee is, potentially the more force you can produce, right? That's why we say about a high knee rather than, it's not just to look nice, there's actually a reason for it. So hopefully that helps you, Arthur, if you watch this after the fact, if you're not on live. Okay, next question, really good question actually. Nancy T asks, how do you prepare for a race meet? Do you taper or change your usual training schedule? Thank you. Okay. Tapering for a race meet. So what I'll just say before I go into it, I'm going to answer the question, but just so that you guys know, I do have some ebooks, right? So the first one is part of my Mastering the Sport series, and I'm going to ask Naomi to put a link in the chat and maybe put a link in the description box after as well. Is we've got a series, Mastering the Sport series, is helping you master the sport, right? So the first one is the Sprinter's Pre-Meet Handbook. That one is free, so you can get that one for free. The next one is a beginner's guide. I can't remember what it's called, but it's about race day, right? It's about race day, navigating your first race. So it's not just necessarily for you if it's your first race, but it just helps you to navigate your race in general, but maybe more if you're a beginner. Now, in that guide, I actually go through everything in a lot of detail. So like from getting to the race, what you need to take with you, what you do when you get there, signing in, checking in, finding the space, how many runs you should do, what you should do, like all of the things, right? But when you're preparing for a race meet, so if we're talking now, this is more so on the the preparation leading up to it, training, let's say the week or two leading up to it. Now, yes, we do something called taper. So when we're talking about tapering, we're talking about reducing the volume of work going into your race, because ideally you want to be as fresh as you can be for your race, because you want to be as sharp as you can, you want to be as explosive as you can. And if your energy system is low, and if your energy system is low, and say hi to my new assistant, guys, Naomi, she's doing a great job, thank you so much. She put the link in there for you guys, so you can check that out. But if you need to run fast, you just cannot be super tired. The more tired you are, the less efficient, the less switched on and fast, the slower you're going to run. Simple as that, right? Now, we want to get as fresh as we want to be as fresh as possible, maintaining our sharpness. So we need to still train, but every athlete is unique. Every athlete is unique, and every athlete is different. So it kind of takes a bit of like figuring it out between you and your coach, if you have one, as to how much volume is enough, what makes you switched on, what keeps you fast, and all of that kind of stuff, right? But essentially, you taper. So you may reduce, for example, the volume of work. So it might be you may reduce the number of sessions, you may reduce the number of runs in a session, you may reduce in gym, you may reduce load a little bit, so it weight a little bit and make everything faster. Maybe, because it depends on you as an athlete. Now, if you own, I'll say this again, normally that reducing the number of sessions is going to be a bit more, it works a bit better, or is more, applies more to you if you train, let's say, more days a week. If you train like 5-6 days a week. If you only train like 3 days a week, you're not really necessarily going to reduce the amount of sessions, because it's not a lot of sessions per se. You may just reduce the volume in that time. And thank you for whoever gave a thumbs up. Please give this video a thumbs up, guys, if it's been helpful so far. Share it with your friends and ask them, if you think it's going to be beneficial for them as well. So going into a race, first of all, that's what we might do. Now, as with the training anyway, as we've gone through the winter, you've gone into specific preparation, you're now in competition phase. Everything is about being fast, everything is about being explosive. We're going more and more towards 100% in everything that we do, right? And everything needs to be, so that means training the recovery between runs may be longer so that you can be faster, that you can produce more effort in every repetition that you do. So everything has to be of such a high quality, and let's say you might have longer recovery time. That's some of the ways that it might change in terms of that. So in terms of, let me just do the week now, let's say going into a race, and how I personally like to work. I like to work backwards. So I might go, if my race is on, then I'll give it a good example. I had my first race on Sunday, guys. Woo! And it was great. If you didn't see my post, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Praise God. I ran 11.6 twice, guys. I ran 11.6 twice in my first race as well. But I'll come back to that if I need to. But had my first race on Sunday. Now, I usually would say work backwards. So you can either do a pre-meet, which I'll explain what that is in a second. Or your pre-meet is basically your last session before your race. And I'll explain a little bit about what that is in a second. So you might work backwards. You might do a pre-meet either the day before or 2 days before. That's what I would suggest. Now, which day you do it on is going to depend. It depends on a lot of things. If you're working, if you're not working. It depends on if you need to travel on the day before or if you're going to travel on the day. Whether your body responds better with that 1 day in between, or it responds better with doing the pre-meet before. Whether you have like any potential injuries or areas that you have to be cautious of. So maybe you definitely need that day between rather than do it the day before, and all of that stuff. So like I said, every athlete is unique. So this is just kind of like general, but it is that thing of working out. And that's why you don't just go into your major championship first. You have all the other races, everything's practiced, everything's getting very sharp. Mentally, that's physically, that's working out your routine, all of the above. And obviously the more years you've got in your tool belt, the more experience you have, the better you get at knowing what works for you, right? If it's your first year ever, then you've got to figure all of these things out, which is why the more you can race, the more you can compete, the better it's going to be, the more experience you gain, and the more you can put together what works for you. You can get an idea, right, how your body responds. So your pre-meet, your last session before your race, you might do a day or two before. You can choose which one. Now, again, athletes vary, sprinters vary even. I'm one of those sprinters who operate a lot better off of rest, to be honest. Some sprinters need a lot more running, and they turn better when they've done a lot more running. I'm one of those sprinters, my output's very high, so I need a bit more rest. I may have 2 days in between, 2 days off before that pre-meet so that I can be fresher, and I might have trained twice before that, yeah? Where some athletes might need to train like 1 day before that or whatever, so it depends like that. So in terms of your training in the week, you might keep things pretty similar at the beginning of the week, maybe, depending on where you are in your cycle, what competition it is, and all of the above. But essentially, that's kind of some of the ways that you might taper towards a pre-meet, towards a race, right? Do you taper or change your usual training schedule? Now, yeah, your training schedule. So those are the ways that you might taper, and that's how you may change your training schedule. Like, it depends. Sometimes your race might be midweek. It's not always at the weekend, so you might have to change things like that. The days that you do certain things, wherever you might have a schedule where you might do like acceleration on one day, gym on the other day, you might change the days according to when the race is and all of the above, right? So there's things that we play with, but essentially in competition season, things need to be very high quality, things need to be very fast, very explosive, and you're trying to be fresh for races. An open meeting may not be as important as a championship, so you may not taper or give yourself as much rest before that open meeting as you might do for the championship. Or if it's early April when the season's just beginning, training might be exactly the same. But when it comes to now, we're in the peak of the season and it's like you've got back-to-back races, you're training a bit less during the week. All of those things have to be considered, but it's not, those are some of the areas that you look at, but it's very unique and very individual. So hopefully that's helpful, but it is very unique and very individual, and it is something that you have to like work out. That is just the truth of it. Okay. The next question, Young Ministry 351 asks, what training should a 400-meter runner do in the off season? I always get confused with the term off season. Like, I get it for football. It's off season because in the UK we tend to not to say off season for athletics. We just used to be like winter training, I'm taking a break. Like, I don't know. So when he's saying off season, are you asking me when that period when you're not training, or you just saying the period when you're not competing? That's the part that I'm not sure about. So I'm going to answer the question as if it's talking about winter training, when you're back to training but you're not competing yet. That's what I'm going to guess that you mean by that, right? By off season. Now, what should a 400-meter runner do in the off season? These are big questions that you guys are asking me, But essentially, winter training is the time where you need to get as strong as you can. You need to get as fit as you can, right? And 400-meter runners, they need to be able to sprint, obviously, but they also need to have very good rhythm, and they need to be able to hold their speed over longer periods, and it requires, like I said, rhythm is very important. So they need to do a lot of over distance work in that off season to get good at doing that, to get good at feeling the lactic acid, get good at working in an anaerobic system, right? So obviously you're going to have increase your aerobic base is important, like general preparation, general fitness. And again, this is just general advice because it depends on, you've got different types of 400-meter sprinters as well, where some 400-meter sprinters are more like they're coming from a 100, 200 background, so they're more speed based, whereas you've got some who have come down maybe who have a bit more of an aerobic base, right? So you kind of just need the general prep anyway. So what 400-meter runners are going to do the over distance, they're going to do their say 800, you're going to do your longer hill sprints, you're going to do your 600s and your split fives and all these things that you're going to do. Recovery is going to depend on where you're at, what you're trying to achieve in that session, but still, you still got the gym work. You still need to start technical work from early. I just don't think this thing where you wait until the outdoor season or the indoor season to start focusing on technique. I think you need to start focusing on it from the off season, if we're talking off season based on how I described it before. So these are all the things to consider. But like I said, if you think about what a 400-meter sprinter needs in their tool belt, they need to be very good anaerobically. So a lot of your work needs to be where you are in that anaerobic lactic threshold, and where you're having to maintain and working on your form to do that, because if you have really bad form, it's very hard to keep that rhythm going, right? So I don't know if that's helpful. I hope it is anyway. Oh, okay. Gonna move on to the next question. Perry, I don't know if you was asking me a serious question here, but I'll just say it anyway. Perry Scanlon says, how to train in World War III? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there was a World War III that you would be wondering, how am I supposed to train? I don't know. I have no idea. But it all depends on the circumstances at the time. You can train in your house. When it was locked down, where did you train? Did you train in your house? Did you train? Did you go outside into the park? I don't know. I don't know if this was a serious question, Perry. So if you're watching this, you know, I know that question. I don't know if you're asking me a serious question here. But I praise the Lord, I've never been in a war. And yeah, I don't know if that will be a top priority during that time. However, where there's a will, there's always a way. There's always a way to, even in the smallest space, you can figure out how to train. You may not be able to train at a track, but you can figure out how to train. All right. Elizabeth D says, what spikes are you wearing? Okay, I made sure that I took them out because I always forget to have anything with me. But I am currently wearing, and the spikes that I wore on Sunday in my first race, and I'm going to wear again in my next race, is spikes I got from trackspikes.co, and they're called Hyper Carbon CP2s. So I'm going to show you them quickly. I've shown them before. I think I've got a video about them as well. But these are them. Yeah. So they're carbon plated spikes. These are actually my first ever carbon plated spikes. I actually really like them. I really like them. So they've got loads of spikes on trackspikes.co. And they're always bringing out new designs all the time. I know they're not Nike or Adidas, however, they're really nice and they're just as high quality, to be honest with you. And I like to try something different, which I did do. And also, I actually have a discount code there. So if you guys want to try, I like unique spikes, and I also like them to do the job that I'm looking for. So I really do like how these ones feel, and all of the above. But you can get 10% off if you use my code Thompson10, I believe it is. And Naomi, are you able to find the link to that? I've got it on my website. You can find the link and then just drop it in the chat or description. But they can get 10% off if they use my code Thompson10, and you can get it off all of their products. So they have spikes, they've got trainers, they've got like sunglasses, they've got loads of stuff, everything track related, and their stuff is really high quality, and they're very up and coming, and they're actually continuing to grow. They're worldwide actually. And yeah, so have a look on there if you're interested in some unique designs, some neat and some really high quality products as well. Okay, next question. I don't know if I missed any questions, you know. Do you guys have any questions in the chat? All right, at Proud Sprint Dad asks, hi Tarima, my 9-year-old daughter is racing 150 meters for the first time this Saturday. Congratulations. She's used to sprinting shorter distances, 75 meters or 80 meters. How should she approach a longer sprint? This is a really good question actually. Now, let me just say like this. Like I say, I don't know if I'm saying it like guessing if you watched any of my videos before, right? But sprinting, there's like different elements that come along with sprinting, because obviously you've got like speed, you've got skill related fitness, you've got I arrived just in time. Oh, hi, proud sprint dad. Yeah, I'm answering your question now. Obviously, when it comes to sprinting, obviously speed is what's it called? Is a component of fitness. That's the word I was looking for. Speed is a component of fitness, but you've also got when you get to the longer sprint, you have got that like speed endurance side of the sprint. So it's like the fitness, because you've got skill related, that is a component of fitness, but you've got another type of fitness that you need, right? So the speed endurance element as well. So if you haven't done the speed endurance part of that work, then for the weekend there's not much you can do about that part per se. However, you're just going to hold on with whatever you got. But the 75 meters and the 80 meters, they take place on just a straight. Whereas the 150, I keep looking over there because the 150 is literally right there. The track is literally right here. The 150 takes place, half of it is like the first part of the first 50 meters on the bend. So you've got the whole bend aspect first, right? So first of all, when it comes to running the bend, so you've got only half the bend, not the full bend, but the principle still applies with bend running, right? So with the bend, obviously, momentum going around the bend, the momentum will want to make you whip out to the outside of the bend. What you need to do is try your best to stay towards the inside of that curve. So when you're I don't know if she's doing a crouch start or a standing start, but it's kind of heading towards the inside of the bend. So you take the shortest route around the bend basically, and you have that slight lean as you're going around the bend. So really working hard, driving. If she knows anything about the drive phase, she's only 9, so I'm not sure if she knows about that so much yet. But if she's going from a crouch start or standing start, I'm not sure. But try not to swing out and take the shorter route, which is hugging the bend. So say hugging the bend. So staying a bit closer and having that slight lean as you come round, right? Really working with the arm, working all the way around the bend. And as you come into the straight, the momentum will make, like I said, if you're swinging out, but you want to come around the bend into the middle. So you have like this whip feeling as you come around the bend, around, and then you straighten up, boom, right? So then, now we're only, let's say she's at 50 to the 100. 50 to 80, she's used to running that distance normally. So she'll still have speed at that point. Now, for her, we normally say like the last 50, it'd be the part where you need to hold on and where your form is really important. Because as she's getting tired, let's say the lactic acid may start kicking in because I don't know the training that she's done. So if she hasn't done the speed endurance work to be able to maintain speed, then that's where you might begin to lose a lot of speed. Everyone decelerates. However, the more you've trained yourself for speed maintenance, the better you're able to keep that speed and maintain that speed. Now your form is going to really help you. She's been doing a crouch start and knows about the dry phase. She's been doing a lot of training for the last 2 months. I just think she may start fading over the last 50. Yeah, to possibly. So how to minimize it when you haven't necessarily done the training work for the maintenance of the speed is just really trying to maintain form. Discipline. I would say that word discipline, where when you're tired, obviously I've never seen a daughter run. However, a lot of kids, or especially even adults, but you lose discipline when you get tired, right? But it's maintain that discipline. Not allowing your head to go up or shake is keeping your head still. Not allowing your shoulders to come up, keeping them relaxed, really working with the arms, right? And it's like trying to keep as front side as possible. Keeping the knee coming up in front and maintaining. So the last 50, especially when you haven't done necessarily the speed endurance or the speed maintenance work, and you just got to work with what you got at present, is just to keep working. If them arms keep working, the legs will keep going. If the arms start going everywhere, everywhere, you'll lose everything. Your legs are doing all sorts and you're slowing down dramatically. You can reduce the amount you slow down if you're able to maintain your form as best as you can. Even if the pain is kicking in, just keep it, right? So trying to maintain that form, especially for the last 50, if you haven't got necessarily the fitness for it, use the techniques to help carry you through as much as you can, right? So from the crouch start, like I said, it's literally hug that bend, come around, straighten up as you come onto the straight, really work, power down, and then the last 50, hold what you have as best as you can. Yes, your legs might start feeling heavy. Keep working the arms, keep the shoulders relaxed, keep the head neutral, right? And keep working with the rhythm. Try and just think rhythm, get to the line, rhythm, get to the line, rhythm, get to the line. And now I'll help you get there. Even if you feel like you want to stop, don't stop all the way through. So I hope that helps. Let me know if that helps. And all the best for your race. Yeah, but obviously after the race at the weekend, it's something where you can do like a bit more work on that. So it doesn't necessarily have to be obviously doing the 150s. I'll show her tonight after school. Oh, you're welcome. Let me know what her response is to my answering the question. But yeah, obviously in training, it's then you can do like you basically doing the over distance for whatever event you do. So like that helps you to make the event you actually do like easier, isn't it? So even if she does like 180s, even if she does like 170s, obviously you can do 150s itself as well. But and then obviously there's even just the thing, or even if you're doing like the shorter distances, say like 90s, but you're doing like in and outs, or like where you're going changing pace, or like faster, stuff like that, where you get that speed endurance, and we get that feeling of trying to maintain speed over a bit longer distances. It just helps get that rhythm and everything like that. All right, guys, so this is Ask T. I got another question here, but let me know if you've got any questions as you're joining us live, and let me know if I've missed anything, because I don't know if I've read all the questions. All right, Nancy Talbot has another question, and she's asked, this is a very good question: how do you keep warmed up when you have a few rounds on race day? Also, what's the best nutrition advice for race day? Thank you. This is actually a really good question. Okay, how do you keep warmed up when you have a few rounds on race day? Now, as I mentioned before, I've got a ebook, a guide, the Navigating Your First Race Guide. I actually go into this in that book. I talk about what to do if you have another round, etc., etc. And I've shared it before on my channel. I'm going to talk about it now as well. Now, in general, so like I'm gonna say in general, I'm gonna share like from personal experience as well, and like if you have like certain nuances that you have to take into consideration when you have multiple rounds, because navigating rounds is not easy. I think that in itself is a skill to be able to perform not just that one race, but again and better again. Especially you need to do that in championships. Like most times you want to be able to have keep getting better with the round, and not every athlete can actually do that. Some athletes are really good at that one race, but when it's round they're not so great, and then some athletes perform better when there's rounds. But navigating the round can be very, very difficult. Hi JB, I'll look at that question in a second. Yeah, so when it comes to the rounds, you first of all need to warm up as normal. So if I would suggest warming up as you usually do, in the sense of, I say as you usually do with a caveat. Now, if you have, and I would suggest if you do not have one, to get one, you need to have a warm-up routine that you do. Having a warm-up routine, so that ranges from the self-management part where you're just doing like the little things to sort out your body, like that might be foam rolling, that might be some of your like mobility stuff that you do before you get into like your full like skipping or jogging, and then your like drills and all the other things that you might do. But all those like little mobility bits and stuff like that you might do before to manage your body before you get into the full warm-up. Having a routine that you do is so beneficial, because not only does it help to prepare your body properly, like if you've got a routine, you make sure you don't miss anything. So whereas if you just do, I feel like this, I feel like that, you tend to miss something. So if you like, no matter what, I always roll out the bottom of my feet, then when now you're not just waiting to, my feet are sore, let me do it now. You just keep on top of it. If you're always working for your hip mobility in a certain way, you're on top of it. So if you have a routine, you don't miss things, and also it helps you prepare mentally. And on race day, that is so important. Getting into a place where you can, when you feel stressed about, because so many things to think about, if you have a routine, it just allows you to stay calmer, at least anyway, feel more in control, because you know what you're doing here. Like where there's all the other elements that might be new, might be like nerve-wracking and all these things, having a routine just lets you think about the next thing that you need to do, So having a routine, if you don't have one, I suggest getting one, making one. And I've also got a whole video where I've done a sprinter's warm-up routine. Maybe Naomi can find that video and link it for us below. A sprinter's warm-up, something like that it's called, where I go through a whole routine for you guys. So that's a starting place, and you can add things into it for yourself, right? I give my athletes, I give my clients, they have routines that they do, right? I have my own routine that you do, and everyone, your routine may begin to adapt and add new things as you need new things, or as your body you might have certain injuries, or you have things that you need to work on specifically that you can add to your routine. But having a routine is the first thing. So you go through, on a race day, you would go through that routine as normal. However, I would say, especially if you have rounds, you may, if you're somebody, for example, on a normal day, I've got different drills. I've mentioned this before. I've got another video that's called race day drills for sprinters, right? And I explained in that video that I have different drills that I do, and I tend to, on a race day, whereas on a normal day, I might do drills, what I call drills 2, where we do certain type of drills twice. On a race day, I would tend to do drills 1, where I'll do it once. and I will explain it in a little bit when I'm sharing personal experience as to why, right? Now, you go through your drills as normal, and then obviously you got what you would do next. I would suggest as a sprinter would be basically you're going to get into some runs. So the runs as a whole, it can include running out. You might do some in trainers and then put spikes on, but blocks you're going to do on the day. Now in a competition, that's a whole nother navigating experience if you're using blocks, where there's blocks that they usually put out in the warm-up area where all the athletes are sharing. So one person will go down, they'll use a block, push out, you go next, set up yours, then you push out. And you just need to that's a whole nother thing to take on, and a whole nother new stimuluses and experience to take on if you've not been there before. But on a race day, you're going to do, I'll say, a normal warm-up, a normal routine for your first race, right? And so whereas, for example, in a training session, you've gone through your self-management, you've gone through your warm-up, like I said, and then you do some run-out, or you might do other things. You might do pliers and all these extra things. You may do some pliers on race day. It depends if that's part of your normal routine. But if it's not, then you may not do that. But at minimum, I would say you do runs, right? Like I said, your runs they're not just casual. They need to be like, I'm intending to race in a minute. So everything you do has intention, right? Now, you go through that. Let's say in a training session, you may only do, or if you're working out the volume, the distance, the total running, the total number of runs, the total distance. So I suggested in that guide that I suggested for you guys to download, the navigating your first race, I would say a maximum of 6 to 8 runs. I found that tends to be a sweet spot. If you think about your training, which rep do you normally run your fastest run on? If you're doing 30-meter blocks or 60-meter blocks, which run is usually your quickest run? You might have done 3 run-outs in trainers, you may have done some cone runs, and you may have then got into the blocks. Is it rep 2 or 3 where you now are your fastest? You have to think about that. If you're doing too many runs, you're going to tire yourself out. And if you don't do enough runs, then your legs are not turning quick enough. So you have to, again, like I said, why it's unique. You're working out as you go from race to race and you're gaining experience. You're going to start to figure out what works best for you. Like me personally, I'm not going to do more than 6 runs, really. And I was going to share about Sunday, which was my first race. I'm going to share about that in a second. But you do your first race. So let's say you've done your run, then you're going to go to the call-up area if there is one, or you go to the line if you're just going straight to the line and you're going to wait. Sometimes the call-up could be from anywhere from 5 minutes to 25 minutes as an example, and you've got to learn to navigate that part as well. If they've got you in a cool room, and in a cool room sometimes you can't run out, you're just on a spot. Don't just be the athlete that just sits there and you don't move your body for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Try to do something to keep your body moving. That might be drills on the spot, that could be doing some jumps on the spot, whatever. Just keep your fast twitch fibers twitching and stuff like that, right? Then you're going to go race. You go race, you get a chance to push out. You get a chance to push out of the block, set up your block, and you can usually do 1 run out of the blocks in the competition, and then you race. So that's your first round. When you finish that race, you then go into cool down. You need to cool down. That's part of the race day. This is why this race day, that's why you need to be fit, because if you're trying to go do rounds, it's not easy. You need to be fit, right? But your body will be able to hack it if you've done the training already. So you cool down. Cooling down is important. You need to have known in advance what time your next race is as much as possible. In an open meeting sometime, there's a time, but then because there's so many rounds, you're waiting. So you cool down. Depending on how long you've got between your first race and your next round, you may have a snack, you may eat something, depends on the gap. Sprinters, preferably, we don't want too long a gap, because you don't want your body to just get to a place where it's fully shuts down, you're sleeping and tired and all that stuff. So depending on the gap, you may just have a snack. If it's a short gap, which I personally prefer on a race day, then it just might be something like a banana, some energy gel, something just to take care of a little bit, because you're going to start warming up in a minute, right? So you cool down, rest a little bit, have a snack. If it's a bit longer, you might have a tuna sandwich, or it is raining, whoa. Then it's some chicken. I moved up here, guys, because I thought it was going to rain, and now it is raining. So it depends on the gap, but you're not going to eat a lot. You never eat a lot on race day. You need to keep your energy up throughout the day, okay? Then you're going to do the whole thing again, because now you've got the second round. Now the difference in the second round is you're already warmed up from the first round. Your legs are going to be turning much easier. So you may not do, if you did decide to do 2 of every drill in the first round, you might just do 1 of every round. If it's someone like me who only did 1 in the first round anyway, you might do a little bit, you may do I tend to do a different set of drills for my second round, or you may you may do the same set of drills again. If there's 3 rounds, I tend to, by the 3rd round, I'm not going to do drills. I'm just going to do run outs because my legs are turning. Your legs are turning by that point, right? So in essence, before each round, you need to warm up, and after each round, you need to cool down. But you need to manage your body throughout that day, and it is a challenging experience especially if you're very new to it. But it's something that you learn and you gain experience doing as you go on. So in general, that's kind of how you do it. The gap between the races makes a difference. Too long a gap for sprinters is sometimes a bit detrimental for us. We like it a bit closer together, like maybe like a couple of hours, so you have a bit of time to just relax a little bit and then warm up again. When it's too many hours, it just feels like your whole body shut down again. You have to start again. So that can be the challenge there as well. So I hope that's helpful. In terms of nutrition, now you've got to navigate, because the thing with nutrition, obviously, like I said, you want to maintain energy levels. The issue or the difficulty challenge can be nerves on the day. Now, especially if you're a new athlete, when I was younger, that used to be something that was a real struggle. Not just keeping it in. Some athletes, they might be keeping it in this side. Some of us, it's the other side. The other side, right? So nerves can be a thing, because otherwise you can end up in that toilet all day. That's the reality when it comes to competing. There's a nerve aspect too. So some people have tactics where they might eat, like you eat as normal, you feel yourself well, like you've got your carbohydrates, your protein, like chicken, veg, rice. That's perfect. Yeah, the night before, let's say, and you're not eating much on the day. Breakfast, you've got to figure out breakfast. I personally would say, if you do train, not a lot of athletes, depending on what you do for work or school, not everyone gets to train in the morning. But if you have a routine, the same method to if you have a routine for your warm up, if you have a routine for your meals, in terms of like you have a regular breakfast, like then you kind of know what your body likes. You don't want to start doing new things where your body's not having what's this, what's going on. So if you're like, the porridge oats works for me, have your same porridge oats. The avocado on toast works for me, have your same avocado on toast in the morning. And obviously in terms of when you're going to eat, if you're just the same with exercise, you need to eat 2 to 4 hours before you're going to exercise. So before you're going to start warming up, you should have eaten 2 to 4 hours before at minimum, right? 2 hours minimum, but up to 4 hours. That's ideal. So you've got to, if you have a really early race, then you may not be hungry enough when you first wake up. So you just have to figure out enough fuel to keep you energized throughout the day. So that's where fruit, that's where like the quick energy, the quick sugary like thing that converts to sugar quickly is very useful for you. So having things to hand that you can just like raisins or like bars and stuff like that, that's where race day is a time when you can use it. Energy drinks, that's the time for those sorts of things, because you need quick energy to keep you energized throughout that day. You can also utilize things like like caffeine gum, things like this to help you feel alert. There's different ways to help you in terms of nutrition. But during the race day, you'll find that not many athletes eat a lot while you're racing. So breakfast is very important if you can get it. Unless your race is super early, then it makes it challenging. Then you're going to need to make sure that you've eaten really well the night before. Not just the night before, but the week. If you haven't eaten well that week, you're going to feel so hungry on that race day. I'm not going to lie to you. So making sure that you've fueled yourself well leading up to the race, because during the race time, that could be like, depending on how many rounds you've got, you're not really going to eat that much. Your whole goal in that time is just keep your energy levels high, keep your energy levels up, not to feel drained. So having what you need to keep your energy high, and it depends on the gap between your rounds as to how much you can actually eat. So that's why I said fruits, bars, drinks, energy drink, those things are going to be the things that's going to be helpful on race day. Then obviously post race, now that's the time to fuel your body, and a good old Nando's works really well after race day. Anything, like I said to you guys, getting your carbs, getting your veg, getting your protein after race, perfect, right? Hopefully that helps you guys. Let me know if that's helpful, guys, and thank you, Naomi, for dropping those links in the chat. Okay, I'm going to see what JB said. So, hey T, I'm a master sprinter, started last year. Whoop, whoop. What weight room exercises can help me break? Oops, I don't know why it always disappears. Can help me break the sub 12 100 meter time. I'm currently at 12:05. Ooh, so close. Okay, I want to say something controversial. I would not say that the weight room per se is going to make you break those times, but it can assist you. I would actually say one of the things I think, especially when you're that close, I think I mentioned this on either the last live or the one before, when you're on that barrier of you're so close to break control, but you're not, I'll be honest with you, execution is the thing that's going to make that difference for you. Execution of your race is the bigger game changer. So yes, I'm not saying that the weight room, but I'm going to say I think that that's more beneficial than the weight room, the execution of your race. So let me say the weight room first. I don't know what you do in the gym. I don't know how you structure your gym, right? But it's making sure that everything you do in the gym is like you go, this is why I do this for this. So for example, if you say, oh, I'm going to do, I don't know what you do, but if you're going to do, let's say rack squat, you go, okay, cool, I'm doing this. This is me pushing out of the block to get that power on that first push. A lot of the weight room, like if you're, a lot of us who are really good in the weight room, we're really good at the start. That's the reality. So like, we're very powerful and explosive. So you're improving that side of your race. So as long as you know which part of your race your power, the strength element is leading to. Maybe you need a bit more plyometric stuff, which you can do in the gym, but you can do it outside. That can help assist you a bit more on the, as you're getting more upright, and being more plyometric in your running. So what exercise in particular to help you break 12? That's why I couldn't answer the question in that particular way. Weight room exercises, especially if you're in the season already, because I would say the time to get stronger is in the winter. If you're in the season, I wouldn't say try to get stronger per se right now. Now is like be sharp, explosive, powerful. If it's right now and we're in season, I would say the execution of your race is more where you're going to get more benefit out of. And what I mean by that is, okay, how's your start? Are you coming out low enough? Are you projecting, or are your hill recovery too high? Are you popping up too quick? Are you able to transition well? Are you holding your drive phase long enough? Is your speed maintenance good enough? Those things you can work on at this point in the season. But I would say the weight room, as much as I love gym too, I don't think that this is the time to necessarily go, oh, I'm going to add this one new exercise. So it's really windy all of a sudden. There's one new exercise that's going to suddenly make me break 12 in the gym. I think you need to better your execution, because that 0.5 seconds, that's the difference between you getting out the blocks properly. That's the difference between you popping up too quickly. That's the difference between you being able to maintain your form better at the end. That's a tenth. That's 2/10 per se. Do you get what I'm saying? So I would say execution is more beneficial than, say, just this one gym exercise that's going to make you break that 12. So JB, let me know what you think about that. Is that helpful? Not helpful? I don't know how much you record yourself when you're training, especially like it's hard to record yourself like on longer run, but especially those if you're doing like block starts, if you're doing those anywhere from like the 10, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. I don't know if you utilize cone runs. I don't know if your stride length is long enough. Those are places where you can make those changes and where you will get the benefit. And that's why I say execution. So it's not being able to just do it with all the tools and in training, then being able to replicate it in your race. So that's why I say execution, I think, is going to be more beneficial for you to break that time and then be able to do it multiple times, rather than just say, oh, here's one gym exercise that's the answer to you breaking 12. So hope that helps, JB. Let me know. Oh yeah, I forgot to say what I want to say when answering Nancy's question. So what I want to say now, what I wanted to say now about the round, navigating the round. So the last thing I want to say that I forgot to mention. Now, navigating the round becomes even more tricky if you're somebody who may have an injury, may have a niggle, or you've had a history of a niggle and you're trying to manage it well. So for example, if you were on my last live, I was sharing about my Achilles. It's an issue that I've had for the last few years. And so I only just opened up my season in June, which is quite late. It's not as late as it could be, praise God, but it's late realistically. I like to open up in the early May, sometimes even April. So navigating the rounds on Sunday, I had to really manage and limit the amount of runs that I do. So everything you do has to be quality, because not only I'm not just doing all the stuff you have to do for the warm up, but I'm doing it multiple times over rounds. So when you have something like that, you've got to figure out for yourself, how am I going to get through this, or how many runs is enough? And yeah, basically you have to manage it like that. So if you have any niggle like that, and that's where then you're like, okay, cool, first round, that's why I'm only going to do one of every drill. Second round, I'm only going to do not even every drill, but I'm not going to do this drill because this drill aggravates me. too much, or now I can only do the runs, or I'm going to do more runs than trainers. Some of the things I had to think about on Sunday. So even doing that where it was 2 rounds, beneficial going into the next race, but there's 2 rounds again. And I'm thinking, so I've got a bit more of a better picture now. Like I said to you, gain experience from race to race, what I can do to make sure my kiddie stays in a good place. By the end of the day, it was like awareness. So it's like, okay, cool. Maybe what I could do to help myself is second round, maybe just taper up so that I don't get any pain. So you think about these things. So that's why I said to you, navigating the rounds, a really good question that Nancy asked, because that's another whole thing to think about, navigating rounds. And if you have any like niggles or injuries or things that you have to manage well, then those are all the things that you can think about, which is why if you have a team, elite athletes, they'll take their physio, they take their osteo, they take their team with them, and in between races, they're getting their massage, they're getting their manipulation of their body happening to help keep them, what's it called? I want to say MOT'd, or like running well, functioning well for their races. All right, guys, that rain just came and went that way, and now it left a really cold breeze. So guys, have you got any other questions? Okay, thank you. At the moment, I kind of just wing it. Power clean, squats, split jerks, box jump. Sorry for the delay, my stream cut due to the train signal. Oh, that's okay. So you just kind of wing it. Okay. Have you started competing yet? Have you competed yet this season? I know you said, is that time from this season, 12:05? Okay, so winging it, the things you do is obviously fine. So it's not necessarily the exercises. The exercises are good that you're saying, and I like the exercises, and I think they're good. But I think it's also like how you pair things together. So like, let's say for example, power clean is obviously a power exercise. That's good. How many do? You make sure that it's fast. Are they fast? They do it from a floor, do it from a hang, and you keep it fast. And have you thought about maybe sometimes pairing your power clean with a jump sometimes, just to keep everything like plyometric and explosive? So it's the way of executing it. And your squats, let's say, okay, you're doing squat. At this point in the season, what does your squat look like? Because at this point in the season, I'm not doing squats. I'll be honest with you, I'm not doing squats. I'm doing rack squats. Rack squats is where you're just doing the upward. It's really heavy, but it focuses on, it's very explosive. Whereas squats in terms of time under tension, it's a lot slower. It's a lot slower. Even if you're doing it light, you can do it light and fast, yeah. But a rack squat it's more powerful. So it's what you do at what point in the year. It's like you can change exercises as you're going through the year, or you can do the same exercises but switch it up a little bit. So it become, like I said, the same thing when Nancy asked about tapering. It's like as you're going through from winter to competition, everything needs to be sharper, faster, more explosive, more specific. So it's not just keep on doing exercises or like still trying to make your squat get stronger. It's like at this point, you try to improve your strength level. Like you should have tried to do that. I personally believe you should have tried to do that already. And now we need to. If you're trying to just improve the strength level, sometimes the speed can go down. We're trying to get power, so we want to find the optimal balance of that. If that makes sense. Thanks for the great streamer, my daughter, and I love your channel. Oh, thank you guys. Where are you guys based? Let me know in the comments where you guys are watching from. That would be really nice to know as well. But yes, guys. So yeah, JB. So let me know. I don't know what I just said. I hope that was helpful anyway. But yeah, it's not the exercise per se, but like I said, I really think that if you focus on exercise, it will get you to what you're looking for. The execution more than the gym at this moment in time, especially in June, going into July. It's like the execution of your race, how you're getting out of those blocks, how you're going through your dry phase, how you're transitioning. The transition is a very key one. A lot of times, the transition is very challenging, going from more horizontal to vertical, but also it's the part where you want to like chop your stride. So if you can use things like cone ones to help you keep growing your stride in that point, that is the difference between you running 12.0 and you running 12.95, honestly. So those are the things where you need to like look at, I would say, more than just thinking about one gym exercise that's gonna change the game for you. Ooh, yeah, the exercises you do in the gym, they're great, but like I said, it's just kind of more like how you piece your gym together as a whole. But yeah. All right, guys, I'm getting cold now. So is there any more questions? Right, do I have any announcements? So like at the beginning, we've got the Pure Track Speed Camp in January. If you're interested in coming on a week-long training camp to Tenerife in January, meeting other like-minded athletes, whether you're new to the game, you're just interested in sprinting, whether you're competitive, we're going to have a great time. We had a great time this year. You can check out our blog, and I will at some point be making videos to show all the footage that we have. We have loads of footage of our time that we had, all the training that we did. And even for me, seeing somebody like who Nancy asked a question today, so you guys, if you've seen her name today, Nancy is someone who was not a sprinter. She started training with me just to get, ripped before 50. That was her own words. And then obviously she was in a place where she was basically in a best shape of her life already. But it's like to keep the motivation going, I started introducing like drills. She loved it. But from January, Tenerife was her first time doing anything like that ever, training like that ever. And seeing her transformation even from January to June is absolutely incredible. So you don't necessarily have to be someone who she's never competed before, and now she is a registered athlete, going to be competing this year as a masters athlete. But whether that's something that you're just want to try something new, you want to try something else for your fitness, or you're actually competitive and you want to meet other like-minded individuals, then yeah, make sure you check out the Pure Track Speed Camp, guys, on my website. She turned me into a monster, lol. I'm competing in the Masters. Went from 12:37 in September to 12:05 last Monday. Congratulations. That's a big jump. I usually prefer hang power clean. Try to go fast, not done a jump. Interesting, I focus more on rack squats. Yeah, have a try at rack squats anyway. That's a bit more explosive, and it just focuses on that push up, the concentric only, and it's a bit more like what you do out of the blocks, a little bit more that power out of the blocks. So that could be another little extra bit that you can squeeze out of your time. But like I said, I really do recommend the execution. But that 12:37 to 12:05, what did you change in your race? What was the thing what do you think was the biggest contributor to that change? Did you change anything in particular that made that jump? But that's really great. But yes, guys, thank you for watching. JB's watching from South London. Thank you for watching. Yeah, I appreciate you being on the live with me. What was I going to say? Let me know how your season's going, if you're going to compete, if you're just interested in athletics and having a peak. And yeah, let me know how your season's going, and also like how what age group you're in. Like if you're a master's athlete, are you under like proud sprint dad's daughter's 9? Are you a young athlete? Which age group? Yeah, it'd be interesting to know. But got a few more minutes on here, guys, so let me know in the chat, and then I'm going to jump off. But like I said, if you watch this all the way to the end and you have more questions, then feel free to leave them in the comment section, and I will answer them in the next live by the grace of God. Been trying to do these monthly, and we are doing great so far. We're doing great so far. You guys have some really good questions. So I'll wait a few more minutes and then we will jump off. Thank you to everyone that sent their questions in today. I hope my answers were helpful, guys. I hope I didn't miss any questions either. Oh no, my screen's gone dark. Oh no, my battery's about to die. Oh my days. Guys, I can't even see you anymore. Alright, I'm really sorry if this just shuts off because I can't see. Okay, there we go. Alright, my phone is about to die, so I'm gonna have to jump off here. Alright guys, it has been awesome. Thank you so much for joining me. And I will catch you in the next one. Bye, guys. Thank you. It's all on board. Appreciate all your help and feedback. I'm loving competing at the SBAC Masters and Open meetings. Nancy, maybe you can chat to JB. He competes for the Masters Club that you're looking at. All right, guys. Awesome. I'm glad they were helpful. All right, guys. Thank you so much. My phone's going to die. I will see you next time. Bye, guys.